right. Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me? Awesome. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. It's so nice to have everyone in here this afternoon. I know it's Friday afternoon, and I know a lot happen on Fridays, but we're here for a very, very important session. So thank you for being here with us. The session is from classroom to career, scaling the girls in energy model for industry entry and retention. So thank you everyone once again for joining us. We're gonna get started in just a little bit, but before we get started, I'm not really sure what most of us here are expecting from this event today. I don't know, is there anything in particular that you're looking to get away with today? But there's a lot we're gonna go through today, and by the end of this session, you're gonna have some takeaway. I think the goal is to really understand the subject and understand the work that's going on around this subject, and how we can all understand, what the vision is and what we're trying to, achieve through the vision. All right. So with that said, how about we just kind of start with, just kind of introducing us to the session itself, to the project. So the Girls in Energy project, especially with the event titled today, From Classroom to Career, Scaling the Girls in Energy Model for Industry Entry and Retention. That's what we're here to talk about. So just give you a little background on the Girls in Energy project, which is led by the DoTheDream Youth Development Initiative. The goal is to empower young girls to pursue careers in energy sector and help close the gender gap in STEM fields. This initiative actually grew from the Girls Asset Project, which recognizes energy girls' unique potential and nurtures it towards leadership in tech, agriculture, and energy sector, which is vital for national growth. So the Girls in Energy project aims to shift the paradigm by driving an exponential increase in female representation and retention in a male-dominated energy field, both renewable, blue, green economy as a practical approach to addressing the known energy industry deficiency. The project itself operates with two teams. One team is focused on professional career development, which is linear, and the other on the building skills to drive sector growth and innovation, non-linear. This approach supports career pathways. It retains talent in the industry. It fosters a progressive journey from skill building to delivering scalable and sustainable solutions. Our main objective with this project is, one, to showcase the successful strategies of Girls in Energy in attracting young women to energy-related STEM fields. We also aim to identify the challenges that young women face when transitioning into the energy sector, including limited internship, inadequate early career support, and workplace biases. Also, we aim to create an actionable recommendation to sustain engagement and support women, both entry and retention in the energy career. And last but not the least, we want to promote collaborations among educational institutions, civil society, energy companies, and policymakers to build a stronger, inclusive talent pipeline. And how are we doing this? There are a couple of strategies around how we hope to achieve this. We organize conferences. So one of those strategies is having conferences where people have the forum to be able to really understand this project and be part of the inclusive factor of what we're trying to build. The other way that we're trying to bring this home is through competition. We also organize career events. We also organize camp events. But one that I think is very, very, also as very, very important is around the area of community. With this, we aim to achieve, local action and, providing global progress in this field. So this component empowers women and girls to drive local action that significantly improve access to reliable, affordable, sustainable electricity at the grassroots level through the development and the management of a 10 milliwatt distributed renewable energy mini-grid hub. Women and girls take active leadership role in designing, in implementing, and opening the mini-grid itself, fostering strong local ownership and ensuring that it's long-term sustainability. And part of the outcome that we'll, that we're looking to get from that, and we've already started to see, is that this initiative enhances energy access and resilience. It creates economic opportunities and deliver meaningful social impacts, advancing inclusive environmental progress globally. So with that, just providing that background, with that, I'd like to bring up Liu, who is our Senior Engagement Officer with the CSPF, the Civil Society Policy Forum, to help us. I think she's going to give some initial comments. So I'm going to bring Liu up here now. I don't think she's in the room just yet. Okay. Okay. Ami, you want to stand in for her? No? Yes?
I wasn't prepared, but...
Thank you. Put your hands together for Ami.
Hello, everyone. I wasn't prepared to share, but I will share a few words about the Civil Society Policy Forum. So the CSPF is the World Bank's and IMF's largest platform to engage with civil society. We have about 30 sessions every year. This year we had 22 sessions hosted here at the World Bank, and you're at one of them, and of course 11 hosted at the IMF. And one important thing about the Civil Society Policy Forum is it's CSO-led. So we have a period of proposals. So we have a call for proposal period where several people submit their proposals. I think this year we had close to 300 proposals submitted. And then we have a committee that is comprised of also civil society representatives from around the world. They come together and then they make the decision on which proposals will move forward and will make it into the Civil Society Forum. So the session you're at today is one of those proposals that moved forward. And every year we get very compelling, very interesting proposals. Unfortunately, we have a logistical limitation, like anything. So we don't get to showcase all of them, but we do try to showcase as many as possible, covering as many development priorities as possible. So that's just a quick, brief, few words about the Civil Society Policy Forum. If anybody has any questions, myself and Lee, who you may have seen in the hallway, we're around and we're happy to answer any of your questions and meet you in person and chat. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ami. Thank you for that quick background. So with that, we're going to move on. I'm going to invite over to the podium the founder of DoTheDream Youth Development Initiative, Adebusi. Come on over there.
Okay, thank you, Vice President Ola, for that wonderful opening. My name is Adebusi Olutayo Olumadewa, the founder of DoTheDream Youth Development Initiative, an organization founded to help youth to find their voice and create a platform for the voices to be amplified. Also, the team lead of Alliance of Social Transformers for Sustainable Development, and I'm going to be moderating this session. Ladies and gentlemen, I just have a story to share. Why? Imagine a world where electricity is being generated from a lime. Imagine a world where women is powering their communities with a 10 megawatt renewable energy mini-grid implemented by them. Imagine powering communities with carbon-free electricity using marine blue economy. Then imagine a world where reproducing this and connecting communities together towards reducing energy poverty by 25% is possible. Just imagine it for a second. What will be the actual result of this? Infrastructural development, skills to service, to solutions. Skills to service, to scaling, to solutions, to sustainability. That will be the second one. Third, business environment, competition and entry, access to finance. Fourth one, capable startup and institutions. Then the overall outcome of this will be urban to rural immigration. What we have presently is rural to urban immigration. But if we work on this, what we'll be having is urban to rural immigration. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll use this to welcome every one of us to Girls in Energy project, from classroom to career, scaling the Girls in Energy model for industry, entry, and retention. As I introduce our panelists for today, I'd like to introduce our first panelist, Maria Dimitriadou. I hope I got your name correctly. Maria is the World Bank representative to the United Nations and the head of multilateral. Please can we celebrate and welcome her to this event. We have our second speaker who is on those way. Just had a mail from him. Vint Cerf is the father of internet. He will join us. He will be joining us very soon. And also we have someone I regard as a leader. She thinks for a living because her CV is very intimidating. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the founder the president of the Global Thinking Foundation and also the vice president of ESO FinTech Europe. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Claudia Segre here. How many of you would like to go to Nigeria? How many of you would like to go to Nigeria? I promise you, you won't go to spend money. No visa, no flight ticket. You are going to Nigeria now. I would like to welcome our fourth panelist. Is the founder and the CEO of Ayemhere Energy and the chief operating officer of Ayemhere Energy. We're talking about Dr. Blessing Ayemhere. Over to you, sir. Just say a word. Let people recognize you. Thank you.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. Nice to be here. Thank you.
All right. Let's come back to Washington. We are back in Washington. If we're going to Nigeria, we'll let you know. But you're going to be paying me for the ticket and also for the visa. Thank you. So, the global energy sector, a cornerstone of economic development and innovation, remains significantly male-dominated. Despite growing recognition of the values of diversity, women continue to be underrepresented, particularly in technical and leadership roles. This disparity not only hinders equitable opportunities, but also deprives the industry of diverse perspectives of crucial for navigating complex challenges like the energy transition and achieving sustainable development goals. Girls in Energy, been 3 years now, has proven instrumental in sparking interest among young women in STEM fields to relevant energy, building a vital foundational pipeline. However, attracting talent is only the first step. The critical challenge lies in ensuring these building professionals successfully transition from academic pathways into the energy workforce, thrive in their early careers, and are retained within the industry. However, these side events aim to bridge that gap by exploring how to effectively scale and sustain the momentum generated by programs like Girls in Energy to foster genuine industry entry and retention for women. And that's why we're going to be starting with the first panelist. Maria, we have a wonderful question for you. Why is it important to ensure women economic participation in energy sector, the blue and green economy, to address poverty and promote sustainable development? How is multilateral collaboration important to this end?
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to join you. Thank you for the kind invitation to this very important discussion and also join this distinguished panel. To start by saying that we have been exchanging through my capacity as previously special representative to the UN and WTO in Geneva and since the last month in New York. But I want to thank my colleagues, my expert colleagues, who are really making really fantastic work on the ground on this very important topic. So let's start with a simple truth. When women participate fully in the economy, everyone benefits. I think the previous two speakers were very eloquent in explaining why. This is especially true in sectors like energy, the blue economy, the green economy, areas that are rapidly growing and are central to countries' development efforts. Yet women, as you mentioned, face barriers to entry, advancement, and leadership in these fields. We know that women's participation in the labor force is a powerful engine for poverty reduction. This is very key for us. When women have access to jobs and entrepreneurship, the benefits ripple, because not only they benefit for their own livelihoods, but they reinvest in families and communities, multiplying the impact of every dollar earned. Let me give you an example. Research in Latin America and the Caribbean that the World Bank has conducted found that income generated from women's labor participation explained 30% of the reduction in extreme poverty over a decade, which improved the financial circumstances of millions of families. As countries transition to cleaner energy and improve resource management, new jobs and businesses are emerging, but women are still underrepresented. At the World Bank Group, we are working to change this by connecting women with training, with STEM education, with leadership opportunities in the energy sector. These programs help tap into the full talent pool to drive innovation and resilience. For example, the Women in Energy Network Africa program, which aims to increase female employment in the Africa energy sector, is working with partners to provide internships and scholarships for women in STEM fields as well as leadership opportunities. In the blue economy, projects like the West Africa Coastal Areas Resilience Investment Project have trained women in fisheries, mangrove restoration, and waste management, creating formal jobs and helping close the gender gaps in wage employment. Another example is Suio Fish One in Mozambique, which reached over 98,000 beneficiaries, nearly half of them women, through activities related to coastal fishing community livelihoods, including training in aquaculture and fisheries management. I'm just picking a couple of examples that resonate with a very important question that you posed. But building on the above, it's very important to mention that electrification and renewable energy access are more than just a technical upgrade. It's a game changer, especially for women's livelihoods. They have shown that they increase women's employment, entrepreneurship, income-generating activities, especially in rural and marginalized communities. You mentioned how this is very important for transitioning from urban to rural centers. For example, in Nigeria, a World Bank-supported mini-grid project has enabled women to open businesses in food processing and tailoring. Moreover, electricity access serves as a gateway for vital information and overall well-being. In this regard, I would be remiss if I don't mention our M300 initiative led by the bank and the African Development Bank to connect 300 million people in the region by 2030. And all the projects of the bank, including those of Mission 300, are designed to close gender gap and address the specific needs of women, youth, and other vulnerable groups. Now, these include targeting access for women and girls and boosting female employment in the energy sector. We will have time to discuss further, but from a multilateral perspective, as you asked me to make the connection, multilateral collaboration is very important to share evidence, knowledge, and expertise, build capacity, convene action, and accelerate action to promote solutions at scale. At the World Bank Group, we put partnerships at the heart of our efforts, including with other multilateral development banks, with other multilateral organizations, with civil society, with think tanks, academia, knowledge partners, and I will be happy to elaborate that during the course of our discussion.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a profound one. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll go straight to Nigeria now. Dr. Blessing. Are you there, Dr. Blessing? We're going straight to Nigeria. Thank you. We are back. All of us, we are going straight to Nigeria now. As an industry expert, witnessing the gender gap, how do you see girls in energy projects delivering evidence-based impact to reduce energy poverty, create jobs, inspire high professional attainment for industry retention? Over to you, Dr. Blessing.
Thank you so much. And once again, I appreciate my co-panelists and joining all the way from Nigeria. Sorry I couldn't be there today. And the audience, thank you for being part of this. I think when we talk about energy for ladies, for the girl child, it's a big deal. And it goes for me beyond just energy. I think it goes to empowerment generally. Nigeria today, we have a population of about 237 million people. And the whole of Africa, we are talking about 1.5 billion. The interesting thing is that the female gender comprises about 50%, whether in Nigeria, 49.5%, or in Africa as a whole, about 50% of the 1.5 billion people. That's a huge population. However, we have had challenges on the issue of gender and equity in the energy sector. Before I talk about the issue of challenge and the diversity, let's even look at the gap that we need to fill in Nigeria and Africa. You know, today more than 86 million people need power, all right? And that is in Nigeria alone. And if we scale that to Africa, the number is staggering. But unfortunately, what we see is that the energy space, whether in the renewable energy, whether in the electricity space, or even in the hydrocarbon space that have been for many decades, we'll see that there are only few female that are there at strategic levels. And that is one of the reasons why I am excited about the work that DoTheDream is doing to create a platform to train, to overcome cultural barriers. And that cultural barriers is not only about allowing the female child to go to school and be educated. Also in the employment circle, we see this level of discrimination, either in terms of pay, in terms of promotion, in terms of the height to which female can attain to. But let me tell you something, just a quick one. I am surrounded by women. Of course, if I say this, it will be rhetoric. My mother, my wife, and I have 2 daughters. Of course, I have siblings that are also female. The interesting thing is if I look around and across every one of them, they are all doing amazing things all over the world. You know, my daughters are doing exceptionally well, competing very well, and progressing in their academic career. And I go back and say, what would have been the case if they were not given the opportunity to be educated? And I'm looking forward to them after their schooling to getting positions, strategic positions to contribute, because what I enjoy from them today, whether from my mom, my wife, my daughters, the level of intelligence, the level of innovation and creativity that they bring to the home and that they take to their place of school or work is amazing. And let me scale that up a little bit. In my career, I have spent about 27 years in my career journey so far. And all through my career, I can say very well that the responsibilities that I see female handle, if I put them in a scale, I will say that they have performed relatively better than the majority of other roles that are not led by female. So I'm not surprised today in Nigeria that we have 2 female CEOs as leading the energy space in the electricity, 2 biggest electricity companies in Nigeria and residents in Lagos. So I am seeing the level of stability in those companies. I see the level of growth in those companies. I see the level of innovation that are coming in there. And in the oil and gas space also, we see the same thing. If you look down carefully and see those companies that are led by female also, we see the level of stability that we get there. So creating a platform to deliberately go and identify and allow the female folks to be educated and to move from education to the workplace where diversity and inclusion is the order of the day is something that I encourage. But there is a lot of work to be done. There is a lot of work to be done. And I'm calling on everyone today, wherever you are all over the world, to support any initiative in your community to ensure that the girl child is educated and given opportunity in the career space. I will pause for now and further this during the conversation. Thank you.
Awesome. That's Dr. Blessing, the CEO of Ayemhere Energy Limited, and also the CEO of Ingesia Energy Limited from West Africa. So we'll go to Claudia. You have your section now. You think for a living, and that's one of the beautiful things about you, creative intelligence. Now, how can we foster collaboration among member states, financial institutions, educational bodies, civil societies, energy companies, and policymakers to build a stronger and more inclusive talent pipeline?
Yes, so thank you very much for having me, and particularly because we are really deeply involved into this issue as Global Thinking Foundation. And let me say that before the civil society forum, there were only banking delegation. Before the Lehman Brothers default, there were only a delegation of banking, delegation of G7, G20. We are discussing of credit lines on emerging markets. It was all. After Lehman Brothers, they started to understand that we need civil society voices, we need the civil society participation, and that's why I closed my career and moved to build a foundation for women and girls, and particularly connected to preventing economic violence and financial exclusion, because we know we started with Christine Lagarde working on financial inclusion, and we are here also because of this path of changing mood of civil society voices. And for this reason, I think that to build true inclusive energy talent pipeline, we need to start thinking like an ecosystem that brings all together not only the multilateral institution and governments, like we heard also this first morning by the program of Nigeria, that we heard very important, but also university and companies. And we have to agree on common target related to the internship quotas, training programs, mentorship ratios for girls and young women. And this is the first point for me, so to have a sort of classroom to career compact with this kind of partnership. And this collaboration means to share goals, to share data, and to share accountability. The second point is relating to make skills portable. We have an observatory on fintech for sustainability into our foundation. There is with me our Secretary General, and we are developing with one of our big stakeholders, that is FAVNet, that is a chain of all the entities related to edutainment in Europe for Erasmus, developing digital credentials, so and skill passports, because a young woman that is trained in Nigeria or in Kenya or in other countries need to have her skill recognized by the energy company that is in Italy, in Canada, or elsewhere in Africa or in Asia. And this is very important for we are working a lot in this program of micro-credentials. And third one is using the fintech rails to widen the access, because delivering also micro scholarship and grants need to go directly through digital wallets to the girls that achieve this opportunity, to reach those directly. And this is very important because we know the difficulty. We work a lot also with girls starting from Belgium that work for 6 months with the ICAWOR Foundation in Ghana in order to support the inclusion of the Fulbe or Fulani ethnic group. You know that Fulbe ethnic group in Ghana is very known because they are a pastoralistic lifestyle, and Fulbes is one of the largest ethnic groups in Africa. So we are working with rural women and girls to improve them through financial inclusion, financial literacy, and digital literacy. The same thing that we are doing with the rural entrepreneurship in Italy, exactly the same, because you know that Italy have the lowest ranking of financial skills in Europe. There is only Malta that is the last one, but you know, we are this big problem in a very conservative country like Italy. So a lot of things to do, but we have to organize this ecosystem with true collaboration. That means transforming the good intention that we have, sharing with the governments and the other entities into measurable outcomes. All our projects means to have a social impact measurement with SROI, so a quantitative multiplier of the measurement of the investment that we put in each project. And this is why we wanted the next CSPF, we can bring the results of this tracking with the project that we can develop from now on regarding She Including and the other project of Classroom to Career Compact that we hope to build all together.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, Vice President, what can you say about what you just said now?
Well, I think it's...
Go ahead. It's on.
Yeah, I think it just kind of tells us how strategic, you know, some of this work, and you know why Africa is very important, and why, you know, the focus on girls and women is very, very strategically important. I mean, not just to, you know, what Claudia has said. I also kind of, you know, piggyback from what Dr. Blessing also said as well. You know, when we think about the impact of, you know, really focusing impact on girls and young women, it's got a very it's very, very enormous in its effect. So yeah, so thank you for that.
Thank you. We're going to be taking just one question. If you have a question for either Maria, Claudia, or Dr. Blessing, I would like to take it now as we are moving to the next session. Okay.
Thank you. Just quickly switching gear for a minute as we, you know, go ahead in this event. You know, as I was just kind of mentioning, and just before I go to you, Maria, to ask a question, I just want to kind of highlight some of the reasons why this is important. The president of the World Bank, Ajay Banga, you know, he said in Nairobi, where he was emphasizing the importance of recognizing Africa's potential and the need for investment in the continent. He actually highlighted that Africa, you know, growing youth population is in its most vital asset, and stressed the importance of building pathways in education, infrastructure, and capital to turn the continent's demographic growth into a demographic dividend. He warned that, you know, turning away from Africa now will be a historic mistake. Additionally, he noted that by 2050, Africa population would nearly double. Think about that for a minute. With 1 in 4 people in the world being African, making it a critical focus for future development and innovation. So the projection that by 2030, Africa will have a larger workforce than China, and by 2050, that the largest workforce globally will align with Banga's focus on African youth as a key asset and the need for investment to harness this potential. So if I could go to you, Maria, I'm just going to ask you a question just to kind of kick this off. What tangible solutions can ensure that women not only enter, but also thrive and lead using also experience from your professional path?
Thank you. Would you like me to go ahead, or so that we
let go ahead,
Dr. Cerf settle in a little bit and welcome to you? I think it's multiple factors and a combination of what we have heard so far that is very important. One solution, specific solutions isolated are not enough. For example, if we skill girls with education and health and good skills, if there is no electricity for the factory that we offer the jobs, this will not work. There will be a mismatch. So it is very important to consider investment in foundational infrastructure, which is very much linked with our jobs agenda, as the best way to address poverty. Investing in health, in education, in skills, investing in infrastructure, which may be from, as a woman also speaking, from infrastructure that allows safe and secure transportation in and out of work, to infrastructure, access to infrastructure for the private sector that will be providing the jobs that would be employing women, especially in the energy sector. The enabling legislation and the services, for example, affordable quality care services. Who is a mom here and knows what I'm talking about? Financial and digital inclusion, very much interlinked, but also addressing norms and creating an environment which is conducive for women's leadership and participation in decision making. So it's a combination of all of these things that allow women to enter and stay in employment and also thrive and lead looking forward. But it's also multiple levels that we need to consider. For example, the community level, where you're doing really impressive work, and congratulations, where women have the possibility to enjoy opportunities through internship programs. And I'll talk a little bit about that, because I myself started in this way. Or get information, access to information. And thank you, sir, for all you have done for us being able to access information. How important this is for women to be able to benefit from opportunities to invest in themselves, but also to look into opportunities for jobs. But also at the national, subnational level, in allowing women to participate in decision-making processes and inform, in turn, the conditions that will allow them to participate so that the whole society can benefit. Last but not least is the private sector, as the distinguished panelist Dr. Blessing mentioned, how private sector companies create the environment that allows tapping into the potential of their women's workforce and allowing them to contribute at the maximum of their potential at all layers of participation. And it can be from things such as ensuring a safe working environment and addressing gender-based violence, to making sure that there is no discriminatory processes in hiring, in advancement. It's a combination of all of these things. Looking at my professional path, it was the combination of all of these things that allowed me to enter the labor market as a young economist at the time. And I remember very well my first steps in the private sector. I was often alone as a woman in complicated investment, especially in innovation. So having access to internships to enter the labor market, but also to peer networks where we would exchange information and learn from each other. And actually, the peer networks have been very important throughout the stages of my career, at different levels of expertise and experience. Last but not least, I would like to recognize the fellow men and women professionals and colleagues who really empowered me throughout all my stages, the stages of my career, and especially when I was young, devoting time. And you know, you can never pay it back. You can always pay it forward. Mm-hmm. So I have always taken myself all the time that I can to share my experience, discuss with young women entering the labor market or moving jobs, mentor as I was mentored, And there is always the time. If you see the activities that we do in the various offices where I have worked, we're always surrounded by young people, and increasingly so by civil society. So thank you for your efforts and allowing me to share my own personal path.
Thank you. Thank you. That's really insightful. So before I turn it over back to Adebosi, I'd just like to quickly welcome Vint Cerf. So nice to see you again. Vint happened to be a much senior colleague of mine working at Google. I don't think you would remember those days walking, talking in the hallway and all that. So it's nice to have you here. For those who don't know Vint, Vint is called the father of the internet. Vint actually co-designed the internet protocol, and the internet architecture. So he still contributes to global policy shaping and, globally. So Vint, it's so nice to have you. With that, I'll turn it back over to Adebosi.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Sir, as the father of internet, what future possibilities do you see for leveraging the internet to boost interest, innovation, and impact in girls in energy projects, supporting industry retention and closing the gender gap, sir?
First of all, apologies for being late. Apparently my registration went astray, and so I was wandering around trying to get documented. And of course, with the visits today of Zelensky, traffic was terrible. So I apologize for my absence at the beginning. The question you've just asked reminds me of the final exam on a physics course that reads, describe the universe in 25 words or less and give 3 examples. This is a hard problem to deal with. And I also need to point out to you that the internet doesn't work without electricity. So there's something very fundamental about the topic of discussion here. It's not only getting women into this profession and into the business of creating infrastructure, but it's essential. The internet won't be useful if it doesn't run. And of course, all the devices that are used to access it similarly require electrical power. To the extent that electrical power is not reliably available in many places, it's pretty clear that we need people who know how to build and operate electrical infrastructure to do that. And why would we want half of the world's population to be excluded from being able to supply that very important piece of infrastructure? So I'm a big fan of girls in energy. In fact, I'm a big fan of anybody that can provide reliable energy. Those of you who are following the artificial intelligence explosion right now will appreciate that it is demanding a substantial amount of energy to operate those things. The good news is that the AI technology is going to become more efficient, partly because of better hardware, but also because we're learning how to train and build models that require a lot less energy. If you've ever heard of the term distillation, for example, it's a way of taking a big, complex model and shrinking it down to something which is requires less power. Specifically, to answer the question, though, it's clear that women have to have the opportunity to learn how to perform these functions, to do design. There's more to this than just the technical part. There's, of course, design, implementation, and operations, but there's marketing. There is the operation of the companies, including all the personnel requirements and healthcare and all the other things that Ms. Dimitriadou, did I say that right?
Wonderful, thank you.
Efkaristo.
You're the first one.
I practiced this for 15 minutes. Oh, I'm sorry, that's my staff calling, saying they're one. I collared at them and I said, why wasn't I registered? So anyway, once the internet is in place, though, it offers an enormous array of opportunity for women to engage. And the thing I want to emphasize in this part of our discussion is that these kinds of activities do not have to be only local. Once you are on the internet, you have access to a global economy. You have an opportunity to provide products and services literally anywhere in the world. To the extent that shipping is required, physical shipping is required, once again, the internet can go to bat to help, because you can schedule and arrange shipping and all the other documentation that's required to export or import items. But for things that can be delivered electronically, digitally, it's instantaneous. And so software development, for example, and applications, designs, all these things are open to people who are properly educated to design and build these kinds of infrastructures. I like what Miss Maria. What Maria was saying had this long list of enabling things that must be in place to enable women to take advantage of these opportunities. So I could not say better than she did why this is such of an important and broad challenge. Much has to be done, including social norms, which must change in order to enable women to be part of the workplace. So frankly, speaking as the internet evangelist, I hope that the internet can play a role in helping enable women to take on some of these responsibilities and to do so well, and to open up other opportunities as well. I'm sure that if someone asked you, Maria, whether you could have planned your career, I would guess after you stopped laughing, you would say, no, I couldn't have planned my career, but I took advantage of opportunity when I saw it. And that is probably a critical element of women's careers, seeing opportunity when it shows up. Sometimes it shows up in ways that don't look like opportunities. For example, your company went bankrupt, or you got fired from your job, or the conditions made it impossible for you to work. I mean, well, you have a situation in the United States right now where we have exactly that problem. All of those don't look like opportunity at all, but they are if they make you look around and ask the question, what else could I be doing? So I hope that that's a question that women will regularly ask themselves. I'll stop there, but I'm looking forward to the rest of this discussion.
Thank you, Vint, for that. We'll quickly go back to Nigeria now. Dr. Blessing, thank you so much for that, Vint. Thank you so much. As the visionary energy leader, how can you motivate private sectors to develop CSR-driven independent financing that positions the girls in energy up as a catalyst for female leadership and reducing energy poverty in the global south? Dr. Blessing, over to you again.
Right, thanks once again. I think the discussion so far has been amazing, and I'm happy that we are drawing the needed attention to this very important, critical part of our life and living. I'll start by saying that there's huge energy poverty in Africa. I'll focus more on Africa, Nigeria as a case study. We have huge deficits, and we can trace the cause of these deficits to a few things. Given that Africa is very huge when it comes to cultural norms, and the historical behavior of what we have seen decades past, we can therefore say that yes, there have been disadvantage in the female child, the girl child, gaining, the same proportion of exposure to both education, and for those that are educated, to opportunities in the industrial part of it. And some of these cultural norms that discourage the female child from subjects like what we have in sciences, technology, engineering, and mathematics, because there is just this understanding that no, the female child cannot go with this rigor. And so you see segregation from the beginning. So a deliberate, sponsoring and investment in mentorship, creating platforms where we allow the girl child, the female in our midst and amongst us, to compete and to participate. And competition here is not with the negative connotation, but giving the same opportunity to participate in those activities and functions that test their capability is key. So part of the things that I see that we can advocate, one comes from policy and government action. So private sector, we continue to partner with the government in ensuring that we create training centers, both for formal and informal education. On the informal education, we are talking about apprenticeship, allowing the girl child to learn and to be able to participate in a lot of the vocational studies that are available. On the formal side is if you go to any STEM group in the educational sector in Africa, and maybe across Africa as well to other parts of the world, you discover that most of the STEM related courses and subjects are dominated by the male folks. I think we need to deliberately encourage right from the primary school to secondary and then to the tertiary. And then in the career fairs that we also carry out there and sponsor, we must be able to give equal playing opportunity to both male and female. So in my organization, for example, I am blind to gender. I see competence on paper, I see competence in performance, and that is what I look for. And anybody that can deliver on the job. So I define the job, I define the role, and then anybody that fits into that role, whether you are male or female, is inconsequential. And also we must deal with the issue of discriminatory pay as well. And what we give rise to that is to continue to showcase females that are doing well and leading very well. In Nigeria system, for example, we have females that have taken over the aims of affairs in banking, in oil and gas, in electricity and power generally. And when we compare them, I think they are doing excellently well, if not more, than what we see on the average. So we must continue to collaborate and sponsor initiatives across board, right from the entry in the primary sector to tertiary. And when they are done with tertiary, career fairs must give equal opportunity to female. And then when they get to the industry proper, to the companies, we must allow them, to rise across the ranks by reason of merit. I don't believe in just giving opportunities because she's a female or because he's a male. I think performance-driven, growth and enhancement will do. And I have not seen deficiency at all when it comes to giving the female gender the opportunity to rise. And like I said, if I look at the team of people that I'm working with and I've worked with, I think they are doing excellently well. That collaboration must continue to work, and we must continue to partner to ensure that every human is given the opportunity. And I will end by saying this, that Nigeria today and Africa had a lot of energy poverty and deficiency. And we have a lot of female, like I said, 50% of the Nigerian population, more than 117 million people are female. The question is how many of them are given the opportunity to explore, to innovate, to create, solutions in the energy space. I think if we allow equal playing ground, we will radically reduce, if not eliminate in the mid to long term, the energy poverty that we see in Nigeria and across Africa.
Thank you, Dr. Blessing, a wonderful stakeholder in energy sector in Federal Republic of Nigeria. We're going straight to Claudia now. Claudia, over to you. How can we mobilize global support to recognize girls in energy projects as a mission to reduce child marriage, gender-based violence, while intentionally empowering girls to become women of influence purpose with energy as their catalyst?
Thank you so much, and I want to follow on the same page of Mr. Cerf, saying that obviously empowering girls through the access to energy is absolutely an economic goal, and is linked to human rights, because it is the face of human rights, because when the girls have the access to education, to financial tools and technology, what we have experienced is that she becomes less vulnerable to violence and to early marriage, because the empowerment begins with the autonomy, and we have seen this transformation firsthand. So our programs link in the financial and digital literacy with gender equality, and when young women starting to manage on their resources clearly, and they are able to plan her career, to build on herself autodetermination, and to break the intergenerational stereotypes or bias that are determined by a cycle of dependence, also from a sort of familiar heritage. And that was the example that I already mentioned regarding the Fulbe, because the Fulbe people reach cultural heritage and contribution to the economy of Guinea and the other country in Africa, but on the other hand, they are experiencing a sort of economic marginalization. So we have seen into this girl the opportunity to share skills, life skills on financial education is the first step to obtain this opportunity to break the barrier regarding stereotypes, first of all, and to be exposed to violence. The fact to integrate so the girls in energy model into a broader development frameworks, I think, is the challenge. And what the other conclusion is that connecting the ministries of the government involved from the energy sector, gender equality and education could be a catalyst in order to have a strong shield of protection for women and girls. So not just focusing on production and the result of effective production, but also on the saving in protection of the workers that now will be involved into the energy sector. And this was pretty clear for us working with IMCD, that is a company listed in 3 continents, with Michelin, with the factory workers, as well as I mentioned the Federation of the Women Rural Entrepreneurship in Italy. And scaling the model, we need to have in every training center, every mentorship hub to be a safe space, and also training the language of violence, because under the conventions C190 of the International Organization for Labor, the C190 and C192, we have the same 4 type of violence of the Istanbul Convention. So economic violence, psychological violence, sexual violence, and physical violence. But unfortunately, in some countries like Italy, they are not crime, so there are not any opportunity to be sentenced, differently from US and UK, where into the domestic abuse bill you can find this type of crime and relative sanctions. So if in a country there is not this knowledge of different type of violence, and that economic violence is a violence per se, is obviously a problem for the women to understand that it's not a cultural heritage, that's violence. So just closing this point, I think that we have to scale in the model, and the fact that each girl become a light into the path of her community is the real result that we have achieved and we can achieve all together.
Awesome. Vint, we're going straight to you again. How can you lead in enhancing digital and tech solutions to support creation of global girls in energy hub, where industry nurtures, develop, sustain energy leadership for long-term retention? Key factor, long-term retention for girls to lead. Thank you.
So one of my bosses many years ago told me that to do the impossible, first you have to believe it isn't impossible. And so you're wrinkling your brow. To do the impossible, first you have to believe it isn't impossible. And so some of what we're talking about sounds impossible given the history that we have, but we also have examples where it has been possible to change the rules, change the attitudes. I'm doing a terrible job of answering your specific questions, and I will admit that up front. But I want to draw attention to opportunity here. You've been listening to real opportunities. First of all, interestingly enough, there are various ways of producing electrical power. One of them is solar. Right here in Washington, there's an organization called the Solar Electric Light Fund. Many years ago, 30 years ago, it's called self.org, self.org. Years ago, it was providing solar panels with a 100-watt light bulb so you could continue working when the sun goes down. It's graduated over the years to solar-powered hospitals and other major developments. Solar power could be a very important element of African energy. And so if we want women to help, that's one area where they could get expertise and to provide power that is less expensive than some of the more conventional methods. Internet infrastructure itself is also important, and I want to draw attention to another organization called the Network Startup Resource Center, nsrc.org. It's at the University of Oregon, and for the last 30 years, it has been bringing internet to major universities around the world, especially in the global south, primarily in the capital cities. They are teaching people how to build and operate pieces of internet. And there have been women involved in that, as well as men. And the thing that's most critical here for, I think, every woman in this room is to have role models like the two that are sitting on either side of me, excuse me, so that people know it's possible. You're the people who prove that things are not impossible. So we need more role models and examples of what is possible and how people got there. I love the theme of private sector engagement. And the reason for that is twofold. First of all, without the private sector, the economy will not grow. So you need the private sector. And if the private sector leads the way in breaking the norms and the kind of stereotypes that we see, then we win twice. We improve the economy and we get women into the marketplace and into work. So my view right now is that we have significant opportunity in Africa. I have to remind myself as an American that when we speak of Africa as if it's one thing, that we are quite wrong. There are at least 53 countries. How many what's the right number now? Is it more? It's 50. See, so there you go. See, stupid American got off by one. 54 countries, and they all vary dramatically in many different dimensions. And so if we're going to solve these problems, if we're going to enable women to be part of the economy, then we need to solve the problems locally. And it will mean finding solutions to different kinds of problems in each locale. That's true environmentally, it's true educationally, and it's true on many other dimensions. So we have to keep in mind that solving these problems can't be done on a pan-African basis, although I think it would be very good if all countries in Africa agreed women should be part of the workplace and we should enable that. Mr. Chairman, I apologize if I failed to answer your question, but I hope that some of these comments will go to the heart of the matter, which is getting women into the marketplace.
Thank you so much, Vint, for that wonderful response. Okay, thank you so much, Vint, for that wonderful response. We are opening the floor now before we move to the session 3. If you have a question for any of our panelists, and if you like to have if you have a comment, but before we do that, I would like to call on the representative of the West Africa and Central Africa of the Civil Society Policy Forum, Dr. Olaore, for a comment. Just a microphone.
Distinguished panelists, the participants, thank you for this opportunity. This project that we are discussing now, gas in energy, I think we need to take action. We need to move from speaking to action. We need to walk the talk. We have a large number, significant numbers of underserved youth in Nigeria who are out of job. With this project, it's going to have meaningful impact. It will bring an inclusive growth in our community, in our nation, and then it's going to promote the economy. So to do this, we need multi-stakeholder collaborations. We need to work together with the government, private sectors, faith-based, youth groups, trade associations, and other meaningful and diverse stakeholders. So to do this, I am happy that this program is being live streamed. All the world are listening to us. And after this program, it still remains on the World Bank website. But we need to go to our different places and then find means of making sure that this initiative is not, it still remain active. And then we continue to work towards it to make sure that it's been productive. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you, Dr. Laure, for the wonderful submission. I would like to take a question. 1 and 2.
Thank
then
you.
3, just for a few minutes. Okay, go ahead. Just straight to the point, please. Go ahead,
Okay.
ma'am.
I'm Yoshiko Shed from Social Capital Initiatives based in New York. I have a question to Dr. Internet, Father. I'm just wondering if, the very successful case of India will be able to apply to the Nigeria in particular, because, India has some program called JAM, which has 3 systems, started at 2014, and basically one for, everyone, biometric ID for everyone, and the bank account for everyone, mobile for everyone. That's actually, helps the country boom a lot. And another thing that, yes, it's wonderful to have a lot more, we need a lot more jobs for women, but for that to happen, the infrastructure has to be developed very, very fast. And also, yes, that's it. Thank you.
So this is a really, really good question. I'm probably not the only person who could respond, but first of all, we need to ask ourselves what made it work in India, what made it succeed. Sometimes success in one place doesn't necessarily work exactly the same way elsewhere. But the idea of the Aadhaar system identified people who were otherwise invisible to the government. That was an important step. The second thing that you think about what you said, think about the enabling impact of having mobiles. Think about the enabling impact of the other things that we've been talking about. Education is a perfect example of that. Infrastructure that supports those enabling steps is vital. Think about this as an investment by the country and the private sector in the country and its economy. Without that kind of infrastructure, without that kind of investment, it's very hard to make any progress. But that's true for every company you ever met. Every company has to invest in itself in order to grow a market and grow products and grow its business. So countries have to invest in themselves. We're sitting in a place that helps people, helps countries do that. That's what the World Bank tries to do. And that's another part of the picture, I think, which is investment by organizations like World Bank and other investment institutions in order to enable these infrastructures to happen. I could not overemphasize, however, the importance of cultural norms and shifting them to recognize opportunity that has been essentially, let's say, ignored because of history. We need to change that. So that's an attempt to answer very, very good questions.
Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. It's an honor to meet every one of you. I'm Sonak Bhatta from Nepal. And when we're talking about career, one of the major parameters that we generally discuss is how much opportunity do we have in the market. And there's a next important parameter, which is the parameter of interest. To what extent, what kind of person would be interested on that sector, given equal opportunities, access, and other factors that define interest like role models and so forth. A lot of studies have shown that when it comes down to technical things, or let's say technical school or engineering school, even when resources are quite equal, men are found to be more interested on technical sides. And this is not my opinion, but the opinion of, let's say, the general reality of life, especially when we go across a number of studies. And one of the questions that pops down, and it is usually discussed as well, is what actually defines the interest? Is it all about the social conditioning? Or does it also come down to the biology or who we are at the genetic level? And I think this question is important because all at the end of the day, what also matters is, are we loving what we are doing despite the influences that are present around us? And that defines what we choose and if we are going to be happy all at the end of the day. Thank you. So the question to either of the panelists.
Yeah, well, these ladies are undoubtedly going to have a response to this. I just wanted to mention 3 things that make for a successful career. Number 1, you should do something that you like doing. Why else would you do it? Second, you better be good at it, because if you're not good at it, why would you do it? And third, you need to be able to make a living at it. If you can satisfy all 3 of those parameters, I guarantee you your career will be much more satisfying. With regard to this technical bias thing, I have to tell you, sitting in graduation exercises, which I regularly do, I'm seeing a lot more women in the biotechnology space than men. So let's be careful not to imagine that only men are interested in technology. The reason that that has worked out, in part, I think, is that in that domain, women are better treated than they are in engineering, for example. On the other hand, I have met some incredibly good engineers, women engineers. You'll notice that there is a woman running SpaceX. I hope that that's on your horizon. So we just need to undo the biases that have built up over time. But what do you have to say?
No, I think we have to start from schools, and we started from the primary schools, because the problem is that we have a country, for example, like Italy, that's very conservative, and the bias regarding the opportunity to improve your skills from the technical point of view, it's not so usual. There is also a problem of a lack of good contracts, clear contracts for people that are studying in the universities, that they are bringing a doctorship. So that is a problem of bringing and matching services with the opportunities of women not to stay at home, because the level of salary, there is a huge gender gaps, around 20%. In the private sector, we have a gender pay gap of 20%. So that's the main problem. So starting from the school, starting to change the narrative, and saying that also there is a financial issue related to these new jobs, that it's very important for women, for them to realize this equilibrium between life and private.
Thank you very much. I think Dr. Cerf and Claudia have said it all, but let me add. coming from a person who grew up in a family where it was considered completely normal that I play maths and chess, and not with dolls. So there is no.
Wow.
Yes, there was no going back to home before school, and going back to the very important point that you. Sorry, going back to the very important point that you made about norms. And going back a step before school, which is home. I was one of the very fortunate ones who grew up in a home where there was no bias on what would be the interest. So it was completely normal that my interest was mathematics and playing chess. It was completely normal in my family. So by the time I grew up and I went into the labor market, 90% of incidents I would not recognize because I was not engineered my brain like that. And when it happened, I was so empowered that I could deal with it. But I totally agree with all the points that you made. Maybe the interest sometimes is misinterpreted as the ability and the opportunity that women have. Because if women cannot commute to work because it's not safe, or because there is no road, or because they take care of their children or their parents or their elders, or if the payment is so bad, as it was mentioned, that it doesn't allow them to survive, if there is no quality childcare, all of this may be misinterpreted as lack of interest, and there is no scientific evidence. I think Dr. Cerf has really explained, he's much better, equipped to respond to this question. But if you allow me, unless I'm taking too much time from the questions, because I would like to link also with the next question that you had on solutions.
We still have like 10 minutes for your panel, which we just want you to answer.
Okay.
So, thank you.
Don't forget the microphone.
Thank you. We still have like 10 minutes, so please, if you want to say something, please, your question, please be fast so that we can move to the third session.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kay. I provide human infrastructure throughout Africa, and thank you for this panel. I founded a 501c3 nonprofit organization with the intention of educating, training, and providing jobs to women in high-level industries such as commercial real estate, artificial intelligence, STEM, and energy. My question is, how can nonprofits work with your organizations to access capital to educate Africa on a larger scale by providing more access to accredited teachers in Africa for more virtual, self-paced, and in-person learning?
Very, very quickly about the bank. First of all, there are different, thank you very much and congratulations for your effort. There are many different ways. The World Bank Group has a country-based model. So already the financing and support we provide to governments with knowledge, policy support, capacity building, and financing already has embedded in its model collaboration with the broader ecosystem in different phases of implementing their development agenda. So I would encourage you to connect with a respective country office of where you function, because this is where the implementation of our support is taking place. But also at the global, regional, national level, by participating, by maintaining the dialogue, by sharing your knowledge. What we do right now, these are the other forms of partnership as well that are very much appreciated. This agenda, and as many others, is a whole of economy, whole of society agenda, and it's so important that we stay together and complement each other's efforts and come together. Thank you.
As a foundation, we are working in cooperation with other foundations. So you have to take in account that 60% is funded by different funds from a national or regional point of view, and the other are personal funds, because we are a no-profit, and so we have a familiar fund, so a typical private foundation, family foundation. Having said that, the most important thing is that thanks to cooperation with the other foundation, we are able to scale up with projects, and so to act in different countries, and also because we have a strong governance. We have 10 employees, we have 124 volunteers only in Italy, and then 25 in France, And thanks to these volunteers, we are able to work digitally with different programs also in Tunisia, in Morocco, and in other countries in Africa, also supporting with granting. So I think that to match the tools regarding fintech, regarding obviously the blended finance that we will speak later on, there is opportunity altogether to support some solution from the financial point of view that are very important for all the associations, small and big, to work together.
Okay, thank you so much.
I wonder if I could respond specifically. At Google, we have two programs that might be relevant. One of them is called Grow with Google, and it's intended to provide training on a broad range of topics, most of them focused on computer-based technology. And then there's another program called Google for Nonprofits, and both of those are intended to be helpful to nonprofit organizations that are trying to use technology to grow their businesses and achieve their objectives. Access to capital is always a tricky problem, and I'm not, I don't have a good answer to you from Google's point of view, because most of our capital investment tends to be later stage rather than early stage. But there are other places that care a lot about small, medium-sized businesses. There are microloans for some cases that are helpful. Mohammed Yunus program, which I'm sure you're familiar with, was very successful. The interesting thing about those programs is that they were aimed at women, not men, because the men weren't trusted to do anything with the money other than go spend it on booze and cigarettes. The women, on the other hand, did something productive with it. The other thing that was interesting about Mohammed Yunus' program is that he gave the money to a group of women, and they all had to pay back the loans before they could get another one. So there was a kind of social incentive to reimburse the loan. All of those programs and more are instructive in terms of organizing programs to provide capital.
Thank you. We have 10 minutes more for this session, and we'd like to go to the session 3, but this particular time, it seems we're going to be taking it maybe 60 seconds to have time for 5 minutes for interactions with everybody who would love to interact with any one of those. So, Maria, your words, I don't know, maybe it's going to be your final words, or, well, maybe you're going to have 60 seconds again. Multilateral places like New York and Geneva, how can they help in the knowledge and sharing expertise?
Thank you. We start by saying that, for example, in Africa, on the missed opportunity, there is one statistic that stands out, which is on the underrepresentation of women in STEM fields and leadership roles in the African energy sector, which is 31.6% of female graduates in STEM fields in sub-Saharan Africa, and mere 13% participating in energy sector institutes. So by bringing this analysis, by bringing the analysis and knowledge in these multilateral spaces to inform the discussion, inform multilateral collaboration by knowledge and analysis, it's one of the very important ways to promote evidence-based policy making, and also show the opportunity in terms of an investment case of why countries, and they are in the steering wheel, need to invest, of course, with our support. We have a very ambitious gender strategy, 2024-2030, which puts together this very bold ambition, and it's very concrete in terms of action, in terms of targets that we put for ourselves. What we have done in multilateral spaces, and you have seen possibly in Geneva last time we spoke, we try to bring the evidence, not only the knowledge and analysis and research drawing policy recommendations, but the evidence from the impact of the projects. So you may have seen the impact series in Geneva, where we dedicated last December a whole day coming together with UN, WTO, civil society to share counterfactual impact evaluation, rigorous economic analysis on solutions that have worked and been scaled up. And again, very important collaboration there with all actors and civil society. And we look forward to continuing that in New York, Geneva, and all other multilateral places we work in.
All right, thank you. Dr. Blessing, I'm going back to Nigeria now. In just 120 seconds, nurturing young energy enthusiasts, developing future professionals, sustaining leadership for long-time industry intention. how can you make this work on a global stage and more be strict with it? Dr. Blessing, over to you in 120 seconds.
Thank you so much, and for a wonderful conversation and discussion so far, drawing attention to this very important matter. I think what we do locally, we can scale. We can scale because we have the opportunity at testing and retesting the various strategy that we have, and they are quite scalable. Female all over the world, and most of the challenges are the same all over the world as well. So the issue of interest has been discussed, and I think it is about allowing both male and female to have the opportunity of choice, all right, and creating that platform where this opportunity of choice can be exercised. So when people are given the equal opportunity to decide for themselves, not compelled to. So it's about creating those platforms where there is no dichotomy, where there is no barrier. The access to the information is the same. The access to employment is the same. The access to promotion is the same. We need to create advocacy as well. And whatsoever we do, whether in the local community or in the national circle, we can also take to the international arena. You know, create that opportunity where we eradicate discriminatory pay between male and female. We define the role, we define the job, and then whosoever is qualified to carry out those roles and those jobs get the pay associated with those roles, and not having to discriminate or recalibrate the amount because now it is a female or it's a male. I think it's about collaboration. Collaboration locally, collaboration nationally, and collaboration with organizations like yours and the World Bank as they are doing across Africa and the rest of the world. So, yes, in energy, it's not just about just talking about the opportunity in energy, but I think it's far beyond energy. It's far about giving voice, eliminating barriers, and empowering both the female gender and the male gender alike, you know, to be able to express themselves. You know, let's create those collaborative platforms like we already are doing locally. We can scale this to the national and, of course, the international. I hope I spoke to your specific question.
Thank you so much. You did, actually. You did. Claudia, we've got to go into you now in 120 seconds. Our time is fast spent, and we want to keep to time and also respect our audience time as well. The Global Girls in Energy Hub through development financing. What are the concrete strategies that can be adopted? And how do you think this can actually move from skills to service, from service to scaling, from scaling to solution and sustainability? So we won't close the circle. The circle will be open. Thank you.
I think we can close the circle thinking about the Global Girls in Energy Hub like a platform of blending financing on measurable impact, and also linked to a certification of company in gender equality. This is an excellence that we brought as Women 7 at the G7 Italy last year, and was added by our Premier to the communiqué, and in this case admitted by all the other countries presented at the G7. You know that during this G7 there were all the representatives of the multinational banks, and also there was the Pope, and also the all the other entities, multilateral entities, for the first time. And this was the way to see also the finance outcomes that started to unlock supporting grants when the women are hired, when the women are certified and retain at least for 12 months into the same company. So we have to support the company as well, but you need to use also the tools of the sustainable finance, like green bonds, like social bonds, because these instruments are very useful also to be focused on this specific project. So for this reason, we are implementing also solution regarding the implementation of social welfare referred to Femtech, and so to taking in consideration also the tools for sustaining the solution for women's health that need a different kind of suspension regarding financial childcare, transport, and relocation support into the same companies. So I think that this could be the solution: certification, Femtech, and a different approach to social welfare for women hired in the companies into this platform.
Thank you, Vint. In 120 seconds, intersectionality as an economy. How can we enable that into Girls in Energy projects?
30 seconds. Well, first of all, I think we have to remember that education is at the core of enabling women to do this. But the other important thing is that if we are successful in improving the economies in Africa, people's lifetimes will get longer. The implication of that is that you're going to have to learn how to learn and to want to learn new things, because technology will change over time. The energy generation will change over time. I just want you to think about 2007 when the smartphone was introduced. That was not very long ago. It's 18 years ago. That isn't a long time, and look at how much change that has caused. New technologies are going to come along every decade, and they're going to change the kind of work that people need to do. So lifelong learning is going to be very important. You can't go to college for 4 years and expect to be ready for the rest of your 50-year career. That's more than 30 seconds, but I'll stop there.
Thank you, Vint. Thank you, Vint. Our time is frustrated, but just want to take 5 minutes to hear from our audience if you have something to say. But I think, Mr. Chase, you have something to say. Please, in 30 seconds.
I would try.
In 30 seconds as well, because in 30 seconds as well. Okay, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
Hello. Okay.
Go
Can you
ahead.
hear me clearly? Okay.
We can hear.
So my name is Chase Inegbedion, head of happiness at Concord Hub, and also represent a foundation called Semaphore Foundation. 2 days ago, we had something similar here in the room, and we are so proud of DoTheDream YDI and what they're doing. But consistently, we would say what our organization would like to do is to collaborate. We've seen what the DoTheDream team did at UNGA. Same now at the World Bank, and we'll be doing the same in Doha. But we're using this to call on relevant organizations like Oando, Afreximbank, Mr. Internet mentioned Google, but when you mention resources like this, we need to be able to leverage them. It's not just about providing these Girls in Energy Hub the solution, but they need the resources and the right funding to do this. And I believe those watching us live stream should please start calling on the organization and support the organizations like YDI, and let's do it all together. And we have policymakers in the room also, like James Laddie here. But we're all going to come collectively and see how we can help. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You just have 1 second. Seconds. Go ahead. Amplify your voice. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is about how to have a successful, ways, 3 ways to have a successful career. You said 1, you do what you want to do, and then you are good at doing that. That will make your career. So I just wondering, it's like a meritocracy that Dr. Blessing was talking about. When you look at the garbage collectors, they're all men basically. That's what they like to do it. They're good at doing it. So we don't talk about anything like this. But anyway, as AI technology advances, what will happen to these things? I think they are still very, very essential. And when you think about supply and demand, because so many people are interested in leadership or whatever, so white-collar kind of job, but these jobs are essential to survive. So what will happen?
Some people think that... Thank you. Some people think that many of those jobs will become automated, that they'll be done with robots. And the important thing is that if that's true, then we want the people who were doing those jobs to want to learn new things so they can do things that are more economically advantageous for them. We clearly need people to do those various functions that keep our society going, but it would be nice to put people on a trail that improves their positions in the society and their economic well-being. Actually, I would. Yeah, the answer is I would hire a plumber at the moment, not a robot, to go fix my plumbing.
Thank you everyone for joining this wonderful session. It's been amazing, it's been impactful, and I want to thank everybody, especially the World Bank team, and to our panelists. Thank you, Maria, for this wonderful opportunity. It's glad to meet you in person again. And to Vint Cerf, the father of internet. I have a wonderful story, but I'm going to tell you again. Thank you so much for honoring this invitation. You have shown to us that anything is possible, that the sky is actually the starting point. Thank you for joining us today. And Claudia, all the way from Italiano, thank you for being here. We celebrate you, we recognize you, and we love you. And also to our great host, Liu, we just want to hear a voice from you in 30 seconds. Come on, Avi, and just thank you for this opportunity.
That was unexpected. That was unexpected, but this is actually the last session of this edition of CSPF, the annual meeting 2025. So I'm glad we ended on a high note. Thank you for the session. And thank you for staying with us for the whole week. And so we'll see you at the spring meetings.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we just join to take a picture, please? Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You put a lot of effort into this, but let's continue the conversation during the spring meeting.
Sure.
Okay. So this is